These are the top stories. Chicago State University denies knowledge of Tinubu's certificates. Tinubu's classmate confirms he attended Chicago State University. Politicians, business moguls named as investigators uncover over 7 trillion naira fraud on Emefiele. Loretta Onuche asked for Peter Obi's arrest. And on stories outside the shores of Nigeria, Republicans open impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden. Details now. The World News at 12 begins with the U.S. court adjourning ruling on a subpoena application for Bola Tinubu's records from Chicago State University after the institution denied knowledge of a certificate the Nigerian president submitted to the country's Electoral Commission, INEC, to run for office. VOP News gathered that the CSU lawyer Michael Hayes told the court that the school was not in a position to authenticate Tinubu's certificate as either fake or genuine. He said that the school's administrators would not be able to certify the certificate because they just don't know where Tinubu obtained it or how. Hayes also admitted that there were several contradictions in Tinubu's certificate, including the date it was issued and the name of the school president at the time. They said further, they asked questions: is the diploma authentic or is it a forgery? My client can't answer yes to either of those questions, Mr. Hayes said at the hearing in Chicago in the lawsuit brought by Atiku Abubakar, Mr. Tinubu's main challenger and the candidate of the People's Democratic Party during the February 25 presidential elections. Now, you would recall that Atiku Abubakar filed a suit to compel CSU to produce records relating to Tinubu and make its top officials available for deposition to certify the produced records. Abubakar's lawyer said the documents and depositions are being sought for use in the Nigerian Supreme Court, where the final battle over President Tinubu's election is now headed. Alexandra de Gramont, who appeared in court for Mr. Abubakar, said, and I quote, "Your Honor, we don't know whether the Nigerian Supreme Court would be receptive to the new evidence or not, but we just want to be able to present the new evidence to them from CSU," end quote. Now, Tinubu's lawyers, represented via telephone conference by Christopher Carmichael, said Abubakar was on a fishing expedition. They noted that the previous statements of CSU to the effect that Tinubu graduated from the school was enough. Carmichael said there was no need to produce further evidence or place the school's officials under oath to speak to the authenticity of Tinubu's certificate. He said the proceeding would only fuel online trolls because the Supreme Court won't accept new evidence even if produced. Bola Tinubu, you would recall, submitted a certificate to INEC on June 17, 2022, claiming it was issued in 1979 and signed by Elnora Daniel. However, it was discovered that Ms. Daniel did not enroll at CSU until 1998, 19 years after Mr. Tinubu was supposed to have graduated. Furthermore, she left the school in 2008 due to a financial mismanagement scandal, which occurred 14 years before June 2022, when CSU issued another certificate in Mr. Tinubu's name. This issuance was prompted by a subpoena from a Nigerian lawyer who had raised questions about Mr. Tinubu's educational background. These contradictions and other discrepancies led Mr. Abubakar to file a lawsuit compelling CSU to provide records related to Mr. Tinubu's educational history. Now, to talk about this particularly further, I actually have right here in the studio Mr. Peter Anosike, an author, a social commentator, and a political enthusiast. Mr. Peter Anosike, good afternoon, and welcome to the World News at 12.
Good afternoon.
You recall 2 days ago, the FBI said they were going to release 2,500 records from October, precisely 500 records of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the next 3 months. Every detail concerning his school, whatever it is that needs to be in the public space for anyone to have access to, they will definitely be publishing it from October. Now, yesterday, was it on Tuesday actually?
Yesterday.
Yes. Yesterday was September 12.
Yes.
They appeared in court. Now, the legal counsel of Atiku Abubakar, who is the main petitioner who filed the case to the court in the United States, and as well as, Tinubu's lawyers who were represented. Now, apparently, the school is saying they cannot authenticate the viability or the legibility or authentication of that particular certificate. Now, the lawyers of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying that the court did not need to ask or subpoena anyone to swear under oath. The fact that he attended the school was enough to actually be, and that asking anyone to swear under oath shouldn't be. But there are contradictions. The school itself is saying that they do not recognize that kind of certificate. So the question is, if this school is saying they do not recognize the certificate, we do know that heading to the Supreme Court, new evidence cannot be tendered, in as much as this is needed to file an appeal by the People's Democratic Party. Why does this place President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, whether Supreme Court would accept new evidence or not, it's not important here. Nigeria needs to know who their president is, whether he is qualified or not. Understand?
Right.
There are legal issues, there are moral issues. We are now, this now borders on morality of the president of the country.
Okay.
Understand? So, whether Supreme Court will admit it or not, it shouldn't be the case. We are talking of the conscience of the nation represented by the president.
But the school's lawyer, Michael Hayes, disclosed to the court that the school was not in a position. Now, I think he was trying to be diplomatic by not actually stating the actuality on where the school stands, possibly because the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the president of Nigeria. But he is saying that the certificate, they cannot authenticate whether it is fake or genuine. Why can the school not authenticate whether it is fake or genuine? You do know how you submit certificates for your students. You know how you know whatever it is you use to produce certificates for your students. There are serial numbers on the certificates. There are stamps on whatever certificate document you're presenting to your student. How are you saying?
Years of graduation and so on and so forth.
Years of graduation.
Yes.
At the time, the school is supposed to have a record of how the certificate were being used to either authenticate its genuinity or if it been fake. So why is the school trying to act diplomatic by saying they cannot authenticate? They can't tell whether it is fake or genuine.
Well, it's just a way of not taking responsibility. But for me, I feel that something become just suspicious when Tinubu filed a petition, don't release my result,
to avoid media trolls.
It shows that something is wrong.
Okay.
Tinubu is not the only person that's good abroad. We know how it works. I was in Stanford University, California. And if there's a mistake on my result, I have to tell them immediately
that there is a mistake on your result.
Then the issue of a male-female. If as a man I was admitted as a female, I have to shout, and they must do it immediately.
Okay, initially he said there were mistakes on the gender and the dates. Now he's saying that the mistakes are beyond that. So isn't the school supposed to, be sued for such mistakes? Why the levity? And it's not now we're talking about the certificate. There's been a very long time there have been questions about this. This is the question that the one of the legal counsel of CSU is asking. Is a diploma authentic or is it a forgery? They say my client can't answer yes to either of those questions. That was what Mr. Hayes said at the hearing in Chicago in the lawsuit, which was brought by Atiku Abubakar. However, the lawyers of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are saying that Atiku Abubakar is basically on a fishing expedition. What does that mean?
Well, what it means is that he's just looking for areas to hunt their Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
But as I said, morality is what is at work here. We need to know the qualification of our president.
All right.
What is claiming to have? Is it in existence? Understand? Or not.
Okay, why are you now asking that the court did not need to produce further evidence or place the school's official under oath? You do know, you say that you went to the school, you say that the school made mistakes on your certificate, and then the school is meant to actually, be sued if at all the mistake is coming from them. Carmichael, who is representing part of the legal team of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is saying that there is no need to produce further evidence or place the school's officials under oath to speak to the authenticity authenticity of Tinubu's certificate. He said the proceeding would only fuel online trolls because the Supreme Court won't accept new evidence even if produced. Mr. Peter Anosike, as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Africa is one of the largest nations in Africa. Nigeria is one of the largest nations in Africa, the commercial hub center actually in Africa. And you have a president who will definitely be notable and popular. Why would they want to conceal stuff like his educational background or other prerequisites that are meant to be in the public space? And what does this mean by saying that there was no need to ask those officials to swear under oath because it would encourage online trolls? Why would people troll if there is anything authentic about the president's statement?
The president submitted those certificates under oath.
Okay.
And what the Constitution says, forgery of falsified results or certificates is disqualification. Why they should be under oath is that there should be legal binding on them. Once something is under oath, there's a legal implication. So they don't want to go to that way.
Why? Mr. Peter Anosike, I attended your school, possibly in 1992. You gave me a certificate, but you mistakenly gave me a different name and a different gender. And now I'm asking you, why did you make that mistake? I'm supposed to sue you. You actually owe me. There are things you're supposed to do to clarify my name. I'm running for a very high office in this country. These will taint my image. Why wouldn't you swear under oath about it? Why would you prevent people from swearing under oath when you know the school is guilty?
Mind you, it is the owner of the certificate that's supposed to do this.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking.
If it's not doing it, it means that something is wrong somewhere.
What is wrong? Why the secrecy? Why the shroud of grayness around that certificate?
Maybe there wasn't any mistake.
There wasn't any mistake?
Yes.
Really?
The issue is this. What shows that somebody graduated from a school is not even a classmate or a classmate. It's your certificate.
Okay.
It's your certificate that qualifies you that you are a graduate of this school. So if there's an error, either in name or in gender
placement,
who is the owner of the certificate should raise an arm. Understand? Okay. For the school to do the needful, for the school to put everything in order. It's when they refuse to do it that I will now take other actions.
Okay.
But since I thought there's an error and I condone it, it means I'm the guilty one.
Okay, fine. Now, there have been contradictions and discrepancies. This has led the principal of the People's Democratic Party to actually ask for this document to be tendered. Now, the Supreme Court will definitely work with what evidence had been tendered at the tribunal. Do you think this will make any difference? And they're saying that Atiku Abubakar is on his fishing expedition because any new evidence cannot be used at the Supreme Court. What does this say? Would you say that the entire effort of Atiku Abubakar to get the authentication of Tinubu's certification at CSU is futile?
I don't think it is. It is exposing who our president is.
Exposing in what form? He has the right to not disclose anything if he feels he needs to show whatever in secrecy.
As a public figure, you cannot fail to disclose anything. As a public figure, your life is in public. You don't hide anything. You don't have a private life anymore. So Nigerians, the world, need to know who their president is.
Okay, so let's look at the public affairs analyst Durojaye Ogunsoya. He confirmed that he was a classmate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at Chicago State University in the United States. In fact, he confirmed, coming from the controversy surrounding his educational credentials. He said some people have questioned whether President Tinubu actually attended Chicago State University, while others have alleged that his degree certificate is fake. While during an interview on TVC News, he said that he and President Tinubu graduated from the university in the same year, 1979. He also said that Tinubu was a good student. He gave his commentation. I need to read out what he said. We met in the school, Chicago State University, and we were in the same department, College of Accounting, Business and Administrative, with a major in accounting, and we were in the same class together and we graduated. He did attend the university. He graduated in 1979 in the same year as I did. I am here to testify that he did attend university university and he was a good student. I am here with my diploma for the world to see. We graduated together from the university. I just want to set the record straight for any gain or favor. Now, this particular public affairs analyst is confirming that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually attended CSU, but the school is saying they cannot authenticate or verify the genuinity of his certificate. Why are we having these contradictions and discrepancies? Who is this individual? And why are we not seeing the evidence?
Somebody that you are a graduate of a particular school is your certificate. A lot of people who roams around the university are not students of the university.
Okay.
It's a fact.
Okay.
A lot of people who roams around the campuses are not students of the school. Right. So that I met you in my school doesn't mean that you're a student of the school. It is the admission that one will admit, will know whether that you are qualified to be in the school. Then at the graduation, which is now the examination board, that will now know whether you actually graduated. So not seeing somebody in the school premises.
Okay.
So this guy, where has he been since?
All right.
And again, TVC, who is the owner of TVC?
Well, the question...
Were there errors in his own certificate?
No, he actually he brought in his diploma to certify or to authenticate that he indeed attended that university.
Then
but
why didn't the president bring his own too?
Or where are pictures to indicate that they graduated together? If you say he was a good student, he was a friend in class, they usually have a class, let's just say a class photo of all those that attended school together, all those that were in a particular set, take pictures together. So,
but Chicago State University put their own down.
Eventually, but later we saw a particular paper that was put down. We eventually came up and we saw the president's face placed on it. But this time around, there was a typo error on the name and possibly the gender too.
Do you know what is called a superimposition?
Superimposition.
Yes.
So you think some digital maneuvering took place in there?
It's very possible. Why haven't that come up till now? Why hasn't this Duro Jaye come up to make this statement up till now? Do you understand that?
Okay.
We'll be on and on. We'll be saying that this guy had no classmates.
All right.
He said that he was in the University and College Ibadan, yes, or Ibadan High School. No classmates.
Right.
Understand me? So nobody has come since then up to this point. So the question is, why now?
All right. So with all of this, though, the final question is: Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has authenticated President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a president of the Federal Republic.
That's the court of instance. That's the appeal court.
Yes, apparently they've authenticated him. And the Labour Party actually has filed an appeal, as well as the People's Democratic Party. I think that they will still appear in court concerning the certificate, since the school has dissociated itself from having to identify the genuinity of that certificate. But I want to actually read out a phrase of what Mr. Carmichael, one of the legal representatives of the president, said. He made a statement here. They were actually represented via a telephone conference. Now, Carmichael is saying that Atiku Abubakar is on a feeding expedition, and that the previous statements of CSU to the effect that Tinubu graduated from the school were enough, meaning that the fact that you say you cannot authenticate the genuinity of that certificate does not put aside the fact that indeed the school said at some point that he attended CSU. The fact that the school has disclosed that he indeed attended CSU is enough.
It wasn't said in the court of law.
That's basically what Mr. Christopher Carmichael is saying. He said that he had admitted that he attended the school, but the fact that you cannot authenticate the genuinity of the certificate is not necessary. The fact that you have admitted he attended the school is enough, and nothing more should be done.
It's not enough. It's not enough. It wasn't said in the court of law. So once that's just like a hearsay statement, they should come to the court and prove actually that this man attended Chicago State University, and this is the qualification obtained, and explain how those errors entered his certificate.
All right. Now, this certificate was submitted to INEC on the 17th of June 2022, and they said it was signed by a particular Elnora Daniel. Meanwhile, furthermore discoveries were made that Ms. Daniel did not enroll at CSU until 1998, 19 years after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was supposed to have graduated. Furthermore, she left the school in 2008 due to a financial mismanagement scandal. So how did that name come in? Is it that the president just called out her name without having to think that there will be further research? on who that individual is and how true that story is.
Maybe some people were dropping names.
Some people were dropping names.
There's every possibility, because at that time, at Tinubu's graduation, that name wasn't in existence in the school.
All right. Okay.
Then how did it enter into the certificate? Okay. It questions the genuinity or the credibility of the certificate.
All right. So with all of that, these are pending questions that Nigerians wanted to get clarifications from.
Not just Nigeria, the world.
The legal counsel.
Nigeria is, out of every 4 Africans, one person is Nigeria. We are the biggest African country.
All right.
So our president should have influence. And to do that, he will have dignity, he will have integrity.
All right.
So it's not just about winning in the Supreme Court. It's about the morality, the integrity of our president.
Okay. So you're saying that the president has a lot to do to show Nigerians on his...
Not just Nigeria, the world.
The world in general. All right, but we do know that Joe Biden and the president seem to be in good terms. And Joe Biden seems to accept the president as a true, authentic winner of the February 25 elections based on recent outings and commentations that have been made.
I am familiar with what happens in America very well.
Okay.
When revelations will begin to come, Joe Biden will begin to distance himself.
Are you sure? You sure he will do that? Are you very certain?
It has been happening. It has been happening.
Okay. So I would like us to go to something else quickly. Apparently, there are strong indications that top politicians and business moguls will be invited for questioning by the Jim Obazi-led team of special investigators mandated to probe activities of the Central Bank of Nigeria and related entities under Godwin Emefiele. Now, VOP News gathered that Kingsley Obiora and Aisha Ahmed, both deputy CBN governors, were recently interrogated by the Department of State Security in connection with their roles in the affairs of the bank during Emefiele's 9-year stint. However, there are fresh updates from multiple sources suggesting that the team is currently analyzing documents, memos, oral confessions that could lead to more arrests in the coming days. These indications have also indicted several foreign banks, and they will be contacted in the course of the fast expanding investigation. There are rising apprehensions in the offices of the regulator across the country as some directors who must have played active roles in approving some of the deals are being interrogated. Now, some politicians, top politicians, business moguls, and some cabals of former President Muhammadu Buhari are being questioned and interrogated. My question is, we do know that former President Muhammadu Buhari, whatever it is Emefiele did, there will have to be expedite permission from former President Muhammadu Buhari for him to carry out anything he did. So why not call in that particular individual who is the main person in question to answer questions on why he asked monies to be released and some fundamentals that those monies were used for? For example, the Anchor Borrowers Program.
Well, Buhari to Tinubu and to APC is a big fish.
Okay.
And the issue, and it will be seen as Tinubu not being appreciative. Understand?
All right.
But Nigeria is not America. Donald Trump was put in jail some time ago because he was indicted on several occasions. So and this shows a developed country where structures are more important than individuals. But here in Nigeria, individuals are far more important than structures.
Okay.
So, but as I said during our program, the CBN governor reports directly to the president. So every action that CBN is taking is on express permission of the president.
Okay.
And mind you, Emefiele said that Buhari told him to be giving 500 billion naira to the humanitarian affairs minister every month. We never knew what they are doing with that money.
Well, that's what Jim Obazi is doing. And there is an internal audit of all those monies that were disbursed to certain people, individuals, and contractors. In fact, sources privy say that there is intense pressure being faced by the investigators and that those directly involved in the matter are ready to buy anybody, considering their desperation to get off the hook. Now, there are cases of evidence destruction within and outside the CBN offices, starting from when Emefiele was arrested, have also also been reported evidences have been destroyed within and outside CBN offices. Now, this is said to have slowed down some of the ongoing investigations and efforts to establish clearly how some of the frauds were perpetrated. What does the country have against exposing immorality, exposing corruption, and putting out those who perpetrate these illegal activities? Put them out there and let us have a clean method in our system. What do we have against it?
Well, it's because the truth is that there's an inbuilt corruption in every government.
Okay.
There's an inbuilt corruption in every government. There's a lot of interest in every government. And mind you, the people that worked with Buhari and the MFN were in the same party with Tinubu.
All right.
So there should be pressure not to expose them. And now some people will be saying that Tinubu is a kind of witch hunting.
Yes.
Fighting those who maybe helped him to become governor. So on this president, on this one, I want to commend him and believe that he will, the investigator will go the whole hog and bring everybody involved to book, no matter who asks God.
God. All right, let's look at the former chairperson of the Niger Delta Development Board, Mrs. Loretta Onoche, calling for the arrest of Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party. She says she wants the police and the Department of State Services to arrest Peter Obi, accusing him of allegedly instigating violence in the country. Now, according to the former presidential aide, Obi was trying to provoke violence using the obedience over his defeat in the 2023 presidential election. Onoche wondered how someone who finished third in the poll could be so desperate to be president. She made the call via her X account in reaction to a video posted by one Abubakar Sadiq Usman. She said, attention, I'm reading out what she said, attention at official DSS NG, at police NG, I think it's high time you pull this clown, she wrote. She said that since the declaration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the president of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Obi's running mate, Dr. Dati Baba Ahmed and others she described as unpatriotic angry birds, have been allegedly instigating the youth to violence. She also further stated that Obi has deceived to try his luck at the tribunal where he failed and even attempted to use the labor movement to stop the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal when they declared a 2-day warning strike. Can you explain to me why Loretta Onoche will make this statement?
Well, Loretta Onoche is a disgrace to womanhood.
Really?
She is a very big disgrace to womanhood.
All right.
Even one, she lost her job at NDDC.
Okay.
And she's now trying to kind of curry favor to see if Tinubu would give her something. Then everybody in Nigeria knows who P2B is and what he stands for.
All right.
P2B is a very peaceful person right from time. Even as a governor, he fought for his mandate when Ngige was declared winner for 3 years up to the Supreme Court. He never instigated violence. He was always calling for calm, for patience. So it is Onoche that is desperate.
All right. Let's look at this situation because we're running out of time. She's asking that he should be pulled in. I recall on 2 instances, the first time after the elections when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was announced as the winner, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party gave a press conference and asking for calm as the matter will be taken to the Election Petition Tribunal. After the Election Petition Tribunal also authenticated INEC's, naming President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the winner, he also held a press conference telling his supporters, the obedient movement, and all those who actually want the genuity of Nigeria in terms of moving forward to calm down while they go to the apex court to appeal the case. So in what way has he tried to instigate violence or instigate anarchy or chaos?
The desperate person here is Onoche.
All right.
She's trying to see what will be put on her way. Recently in UK, she was thrown out of her house.
Well, she came to clear that. She said that it's her house and that she kept her relatives because she has not been in the house for a long time.
And they decided to.
But she eventually reclaimed her property, though. She asked them to leave. She invited the police to do the needful.
That shows who she is. That shows the story behind her. Even that her own people are not comfortable with her. That shows how desperate she is.
All right.
Nigeria know who P2B is and what he stands for.
All right, let's go to the United States of America, where House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has said he's launching an impeachment inquiry against President Joe Biden, yielding to mounting pressure from former President Donald Trump and his allies in what's shaping up as an election year clash between Congress and the White House. Now, on Tuesday, McCarthy said the House investigations into the Biden family this year have uncovered a culture of corruption that demands deeper review. And I quote, "These are allegations of abuse of power, obstruction and corruption," McCarthy said. He said he will direct the chairman of the House Judiciary, Oversight and Ways and Means Committee to lead the impeachment inquiry. Do you think this will gain a stronghold within the House in terms of the impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden?
Well, in the House, there's a kind of 50-50.
Okay.
Understand? Republicans that are 50-50. So, but in the upper chamber, the Democrats has about 3 or 4 that's over this. But I know that the Biden family has been suppressing corruption right from time. Right. Before the election, Hunter Biden was involved in a corruption in Ukraine, in a business deal.
If all these things were obvious and were actually in the public could access
they suppressed the Hunter Biden corruption case before the election.
Now, President Joe Biden is running for a second term. A couple of persons feel he cannot physically run the country. There are several occasions when he has appeared in public and he has fallen, seems to not have a physical grip of himself, coupled with his corruption charges. How do you see the United States moving forward when its leader seems to be involved in this imbroglio?
Well, America is a different country from Nigeria. One, they are independent-minded.
Okay.
They know what is good for them and they go for it. So this is just complicating the issue of Biden. Already people are saying that he's too old and shouldn't go for a second term. And I'm wondering if he should get additional 4 years from 2024, what will happen?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Peter Onoseke. We've actually run out of time. I sincerely appreciate your intellectual input on the World News at 12. In order for us to wrap up the World News at 12, here again are the top stories. Chicago State University denies knowledge of Tinubu's certificate. Tinubu's classmate confirmed he attended Chicago State University. Politicians, business moguls named as investigators uncover over 7 trillion naira fraud on Emefiele. Loretta Onochie asked for Peter Obi's arrest. And onto stories outside the shores of Nigeria, you heard Republicans open impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden. That's a wrap on the World News at 12 right here in Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku. Good afternoon. Thank you for staying with us. Up next is Matters with Ikami Judah.